Okay, so hello to everyone who's watching this. My name is Xarel. I'm from Mexico, and I work with Altura Interactive, where we have worked with some cool clients like this ones, and that's where I have learned and gained my experience about Spanish SEO and international content marketing. So I would like to start talking about why you need a Spanish SEO. And even though there are many reasons like improving the visibility of your content or increasing your web traffic or connecting with a larger audience, I would like to talk about some points that validate a Spanish SEO campaign. So the first one is to consider how ingrained Spanish speakers are in the US. I was actually very surprised to learn that the United States is not only the second largest Spanish speaking country, but it's actually predicted to be the largest Spanish speaking country by 2050, even ahead of countries like Colombia or Spain. So there is a great opportunity in this the Spanish market because it keeps growing in the States. Um, Now there is no denying that there is a consumer embrace of e-commerce in Mexico. Even after the pandemic, it just kept growing. There was a survey that showed that people were spending more time searching for products online, and that even after the outbreak and the lockdown, they were spending more time buying products online. I saw it people around me. I was seeing my parents or uncles or friends that didn't do online buying before doing Christmas shopping online or grocery shopping online. Um, and even though there are great brands that are doing a great job, like Amazon, who I think they launched in Mexico around 2015, and by 2019 they were like more than 50 million users in Amazon. Unfortunately, or however, there are many brands and even large established ones that do a poor job in applying Spanish SEO. They misunderstand how to relate to buyers in a different language as well as a location, um, well, as well as a different location. And to do Spanish SEO and international content marketing, it is important to understand that there is a challenge, and I will actually suggest that you either partner with someone or that you include in your team someone that can speak to your new market and that can introduce you to that new market as well as ensure that your messages captivate and convert the intended audience. You need a Spanish SEO strategy that can help your brand speak the language so it resonates with the Spanish audience and gets the sales results that you want. Um, so I'm not saying Spanish just because I think it's pretty or because I speak it so well, but I think it's important to validate a market, especially like if you want to grow your business into an international market. You need to know which one and why. So first, you need to just sit down and ask yourself, where should I grow my business? And this will probably take you to other questions like, how do I choose the right international market? How do I square up against competitors that are already established in my niche? How do I create a content when I don't even speak the language? So I hope that after I share what I'm going to share with you, you have a better idea of how to answer to these questions. So the first, it will be considered targeting a market with the largest number of speakers. For example, Mandarin Chinese and Spanish. Um, these are prime considerations for the languages have enormous number of native speakers worldwide. However, Spanish has one big advantage, and that is that it's hugely relevant in the United States. However, the number of native speakers doesn't equal potential market size. So while this is a good place to start, you need to analyze internal data and qualify leads to figure out which new market is right for you, which will take you to the next step. You can visit your sales department and inquire of sales outside the country or about disqualified leads from another region, and just analyze any trends that you find. You might be surprised to find leads that you've been missing. Now it's time to analyze which market has the most value based on existing page traffic. You can start by tracking where your traffic comes from and which pages get the most international visitors. So just as an example, let's say that you're getting 1,200 monthly visits from Germany and 680 monthly visits from Spain. So at first glance, the German market drives more traffic, but are those really your most qualified leads? Um, okay, to see which country's traffic has the most value for you, you can appraise each page visit and assign weight as each page contributes to the conversion process. Remember that pages that support the conversion process but are not necessary to complete, like FAQ pages or about us pages, they should wait less. And once you have the value of every page involved in your conversion process, you can do this little formula here. You can multiply the volume of traffic from each country by the value of each page, and this will give you the country's volume. So once that you have decided on the market that has the most value for you, you can now try to find the potential market size. So the simplest ways of knowing the potential size of a given market is to check the volume of your keywords after translation. This gives you a good idea of the potential traffic your site could receive if you were to enter that market. So there are 3 steps that you can follow. The first one will be translating your keyword research. So make sure that your list of English keywords is updated. And once you have done that, you can use an automatic translator for this part of the process. However, I am forced to say that automatic translators are never 100% correct. So if you're translating into Spanish, you can use tools like Word Reference or Spanish Text. They both make faithful translations from English to Spanish, and they can include annotations that help identify region-specific vocabulary. This is very useful, especially when you're targeting a language that it changes so much from one country or region to another. Then the second step will be expanding upon your keyword research. Automatic translations are a great start, but they won't uncover all of the most common keywords in your target market, because there are some markets that may have words that don't even exist in English. Like if you are doing a keyword research about real estate, you might not include the word Infonavit, which is a Mexican government mortgage, and it's very popular, but it's not an English word. So even if you translate perfectly your keyword research in English, you won't have this word. So see which synonyms the translators offer, add these new words, see what the competitors are using. And after you do this, you will end up with a much larger list. And then the third step, and very important, is to make sure that your translation is correct. Once again, you can partner with someone, get the help of a transcreation service, and make sure that your keyword research is as thorough as possible. And then when you believe you have all the necessary keywords to evaluate the volume of the market, then the only thing left is to add up the search volume to create a traffic estimation for your target market. And then once you have decided on a market, the next step is to analyze the competition. So first you can start by competition selection to discover who your competitors are in the new market. And you can make use of your keyword research and analyze your SERP. And as you examine your SERPs, you will find both indirect and direct competitors. I will suggest to add both to your list, because even just because they don't offer the same products or services as you doesn't mean that you can just ignore them completely. So for now, just separate them. And once you have your full direct and indirect competition list, you can cross-reference your list with other tools like similar sites or Alexa, and you might find sites that you overlooked. Once you have a sufficiently robust list, it's time to move on to following steps, which will be analyzing the analysis, and I'm sorry, analyzing the authority and the backlinks of your competitors. This will give you a good idea of the very minimum requirements your website needs to compete, along with important metrics such as how many backlinks your top competitors are earning. Then you can go and do a traffic analysis. Um, Understanding your competitors' traffic volumes will help you to determine what numbers are considered high, low, and average in your industry. And another little useful trick is to separate the volume of your competitors by region. So this will help you identify regions that your competitors are targeting more heavily, which will eventually help you to plan more strategic content creation and distribution down the line. Don't forget also to analyze other data like bounce rate, page views per user, average time on site. You know, these metrics give you a benchmark um, that you need to beat if you want to beat out your competitors and win over your new audience. And last but not least, to fully understand your competition and its audience, you can analyze what type of content they are creating, what type of content attracts the most eyeballs and earns the most links for them. And um, you can make a list of the best elements of a page, like CTAs, quality of writing, page freshness, and all of this information will help fuel international content marketing efforts. And you can provide you guidelines to create your digital marketing plan. Um, so now we can jump into how to actually build a content strategy in Spanish. And the first step will be selecting the right structure. There are three options to introduce your site to the new market. It will be a subfolder, subdomain, and ccTLD. The selection of one structure over the other will depend on your objectives. Each one has advantages and disadvantages. So like on one hand, you want to enter a new market thinking only about the language, you can use a subdomain or a subfolder. And on the other hand, if you want to think about geographical location, you should choose a ccTLD or a subfolder. And once you have decided on one structure of URL you're going to use, then it's just time to include it on your site. If you are using WordPress, the WPML is an amazing tool. It will make things so much easier for you. Now it's time to create content for your new target audience. So I recommend revisiting your website analytics to see which pages have attracted the most attention both in your home market and outside the country. And then you classify your content into one of three categories, which will be main, informative, and local. And then you just need to select which content you're going to translate. Obviously, you do not want to translate content targeting Kansas for your new demographic in Buenos Aires. So you should probably avoid local for now and just focus your attention on your most popular main and informative types of content. And that will take us to the million-dollar question, which is, will you translate or transcreate your content? Now, translation is expressed in one language the exact words that were originally said. And translation is not bad. It is actually useful for content that is more technical or that is legal content. But if you want to create a piece that really engages with your new market, I will 100% recommend transcreation, because this is a special type of translation where you perceive the message and the brand voice, but you just create a new piece, which is not the exact words, but it is the exact message though. But it has a better way of engaging with your audience. Now, There are some mistakes that you want to avoid when you are doing this. First, translate and not transcreate. This is very important. Sometimes translation can take you to bad mistakes, like Parker, who translated wrong and confused embarrassed with embarazo, which means pregnant in Spanish, and they ended up saying something they didn't mean, and probably people were just ended up laughing at them. Another common mistake is not considering the context. Remember that just as in English and in Spanish, the words change their meaning um, depending on the location where you are targeting. So please consider the context and where are you targeting and how they understand each word that you're using. And last but not least, grammar mistakes. Just learn how to use capitals and especially accents. Please, please, please have someone that really knows how to use accents in Spanish. An accent can change completely the meaning of a sentence. So just make sure whoever writes it and reviews it knows and understands how to use accents. They can be even hard for Spanish speakers. So make sure someone that actually knows is doing it. So sometimes either translation or transcreation will work well. This is especially true when you're trying to create highly localized original content for a select portion of your audience. So to figure out what type of content you should create, you should revisit your competitors and draw inspiration from their most popular content. We did it when we were working with eBay. They were trying to pivot a site as a real estate expert in Mexico. We turned our eyes to America. We saw this home buyer's guide by Zillows. And then we saw gap content in Mexico, and we created this mortgage guide, which was very successful. And we also gave not only the blog a boost of traffic, but we actually gave the user something useful. And that's why it's still very relevant to this day. So also there was an analysis about content marketing in Latam where they say that posts about how to were the most popular type of content. So if you want to get more ideas, you can just go to forums, to local question and answer sites, or use tools like Answer the Public, which will show you what are the questions that your audience is asking, and then you can just create content that is actually answering those questions. And once you have decided when you need to create new content, when to translate, when to transcreate, you will be ready to create your style guide. So a style guide is a document that includes all the rules content creators must follow to represent your company accurately. So it should cover things such as style, voice, sentence, structure, and the use or non-use of certain terms. Ideally, this document should be created by someone within the company who is intimately familiar with the brand and that can actually perfectly capture the needs of the company. Make sure that this person is able to understand the needs of the sales and marketing team in the new market. And once you have created this document, make sure that all clients, third-party vendors, designers, copywriters, translators, just everyone clearly understands how to capture and convey the spirit of your brand. Otherwise, there could be mistakes that are made, like the one I'm showing on screen, where they translated this English slogan, "Fly in leather as vuela en cueros," which is actually not incorrect. It's not an incorrect translation, but because of the context in the Spanish language, it can mean fly naked, and I'm pretty sure that's not what they meant, unless there is a service that I don't know about. But if you have a site guide, you can avoid to, that your writers or your translators are using terms that are not good for your brand. And last but not least, localize your content. So if you haven't localized your content, it's time to do it. When you localize your content, you're creating a piece that is specific for that market, considering not only language, but also culture, maybe your history, social context, everything. And then you have this piece that is really targeted for that market, or is really meant to target that market. So there are many reasons why you should localize your content. I decided to put this 5 reasons. The first one is that localized content experiences better engagement than not localized content due to target relevance and the audience's ability to easily understand the context. Also, users have come to expect local relevance. So businesses who localize content can expect to see higher conversion or inquiry rates and lower bounce rates. It's all about improving consumer satisfaction. Also, localization allows you to find new customers. If you are not localizing, you could be missing out on a large portion of people who could become your next client or customer, So create a bespoke experience for major markets that make sense for you to target as a rapid route to driving new sales. Helps you to avoid risk to your business. Like I said before, if you are not localizing and just maybe translating, you might end up saying something that could actually hurt your brand or just not be, helpful for establishing your brand in that new market and gain a competitive advantage. Like I said before, there are other brands that are, doing a poor job or just simply not doing it. So they might just be ignoring the importance of localizing their market. And so if you localize yours, maybe by the time they start doing it, you will be ahead of them and already established. So just as a conclusion, creating a successful content marketing, it is a challenge because of the differences, not only in language, but in culture and beliefs. But the good news is that most of the obstacles can be tackled. I'm pretty sure that if you spend enough time on researching a new territory, overcoming cultural difference, keeping your message simple, distributing your content to local sites, regularly measuring the success of your content marketing. There is no reason why your content marketing strategy in a foreign language wouldn't be successful. Get help if you need. It is a challenge. Do not underestimate it. Have someone in your team that actually understands your new market, and you will be very successful. And I would like to quote Jean Matthews for Search Engine Journal, who say that when we understand the nature of why people search and help them with content that provides the answers they are looking for, then our business benefits from it. I really like this, what he said, and I think it's very important that we give our audiences content in their languages, in their culture, and when they receive something useful and something that will actually answer what they're looking for, your brand will benefit from it. So thank you very much for your time. I would really like to hear your feedback, your questions, or share with me funny bad translation examples. And well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for this opportunity, and I hope you have an amazing year. Ciao.